thank you to my sister for choosing this. You're the best. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and this week I got my sister to choose what I was reading. So I messaged her, I think it was the other day, and said to her, look, I plan on starting a new book on Sunday, so today, but I don't know what I want to read, so with no context, what would you choose? And I said option 1, horror leaning book about a girl wanting to become a mermaid, and then option 2 is a horror book about a cursed movie. And she said, of course the mermaid one, that sounds freaking amazing. So we are reading Chlorine by Jade Song this week. Really excited for it. This weekly reading vlog is actually going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to be stopping it on Thursday, Friday morning at the very latest, because Friday is the start of Summerween, so I really want to focus in on reading the books I've got for Summerween. Until then, we're going to be reading Chlorine. I'm really excited about this one. We are following Ren Yu, who is a swimmer obsessed about swimming. However, this book is very dark, slightly gothic. It's got a lot of trigger warnings in here, so I know you're gonna have to be careful going into it. I don't really know too much what to expect. I just know that it's definitely one I've had my eye on for a while. I've been looking forward to reading it. I think it's gonna be a great time. This book is only short though, because I'm actually off. I'm off today, Monday and Tuesday, and I do want to start this today, and I genuinely think that I'm probably going to get this finished Tuesday at the latest. That will leave me with 2 more days that I can read another book. So if that does happen, I am thinking to deviate from my TBR for the month and go with a short book, and it's going to be between one of these. I don't know which one. I'm kind of leaning a bit more towards I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This has been translated by Ross Schwartz from French, or we have It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over by Anna D. Marken. Not sure which one I'm going to go with. Honestly, it depends how quickly I read this anyway. But like I say, I am off for the next 3 days. Today, I'm not doing much apart from filming. I really want to get loads of filming done today. Tomorrow, I'm seeing my mum. We're meeting up for coffee and just going to go around the town together. And then Tuesday, potentially just more filming and editing. So I don't have loads planned, so I definitely think I can get this one read in that time frame, because it's only a short book. It's less than 300 pages, I think. Yeah, it's less than 300 pages, and so one of these as well added onto that, I feel like it's possible. This is kind of the reading plans, definitely starting off with Chlorine, potentially adding one of these on, just because I've been thinking about them for ages. Like, since I got these books, I have been wanting to read them, so I definitely feel like this is the week that I could squeeze one of those in, maybe even both if we get really lucky. I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this reading week. I'm very excited for it all. Honestly, Chlorine is a book that I've been itching to read since it got sent to me. This one was a gift from Uniquely DJ, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've been itching to read it for a while, so yeah, thank you to my sister for choosing this. I know you're gonna watch this video. I know I've already said thank you to you, but thank you again. You're the best. But right, okay, I think that's enough for this intro. I'm actually keeping it relatively short for a change, which is surprising, but let's just roll with that. I hope you're all doing really well. Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been reading, and yeah, let's just get this day started. Good morning. I had a really nice day yesterday, very productive, got quite a bit of YouTube work done, which was amazing, and I have started Chlorine. Taken off the dust jacket to read it, as always. But yeah, I've made good progress. I'm actually just over halfway through. I'm up to chapter 12, page 117, so I've got like 105 pages left, and I have been annotating this book. The first 2 to 3 chapters I adored, especially the first chapter. The first chapter I was underlining everything. I was even highlighting things. Like, apparently this is a new thing that I like to do, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It gave that kind of eerie gothicness to this tale that I was just like, yes, give me more of that. It does kind of peter out towards the bit that I'm reading. You could definitely see where I've had less, can you really see? Sort of. So like started out with loads of tabs to then having less tabs as we go on, and it did get to the point where about the 96 page mark I realised I hadn't really been annotating anything in the book for a little while, and so I decided to go back through. There were things that I did like, there were things that I did want to underline. I think I just kind of was wanting more of that first chapter that we didn't quite get, and it's a really interesting book. This is kind of like a gothic tale of adolescence, of growing up. We see Ren from when she's very young, when she first goes into the swimming pool for the very first time and realizes this is where she is meant to be, this is where she belongs. We then see her growing up, and there's different things that this book focuses on. First part is adolescent, growing up, going through puberty, getting your first period, and it's unflinching. Like, there is pages where it's describing her first period, trying to put a tampon in for the very first time, and how difficult that is, and how uncomfortable it is, and how we're really not taught about this in schools properly. Like, it's done in a very sterilized version rather than what it actually is like, and it's so frustrating. And that I could really connect to, because I do think there needs to be better education around these things. We're not really taught what is normal, what is abnormal, the things to look out for. We're really not taught that, and if you were to go to your GP with any problems, 9 times out of 10 you're getting shoved out the door and being like, yeah, well, it's your period, get over it. And it's so frustrating, and I do think things like that are belittled. I could go on about this for a while, we're not going to, but anyway. So yeah, so it's very visceral, it doesn't hold back, it is quite disgusting. Also, it's reality, so it was kind of like a, oh, okay, we're going here, but also I kind of like it in a way, because it's like, it should be talked about more. It should be seen as the norm to talk about these sort of things, rather than being like, oh no, but you shouldn't talk about that. Why not? Half the population goes through this, if not more. I don't actually know the ratio here, but you know, anyway, moving on from that. So you do have the talks about adolescence, it does talk about sex as well, and it's quite a raw look at growing up and transitioning. I like that. We also get a lot of comments on society in general, which I started tabbing with a pink tab, is just comments on society, and it's different things. It can be our hierarchy, the way we see things, what's feminine, what's considered feminine beauty, why isn't strength seen as feminine, just like little comments on this about society, which I do appreciate. We also have things that I'm tabbing that are just like casual racism, because Ren is Chinese American, she has Chinese parents, and that just casual racism that happens as a result of being a part of 2 cultures and yet not quite fitting into either one of them, and just how lonely that can be and how thoughtless people can be with their comments. So that's something else that's commented on quite a lot. So there's quite a lot this book goes into, but I will say my favourite bits are the parts to do with the mermaids and the more gothic lean-in. So in the first chapter you got a lot about mermaid mythology, the different types of mythology, what Ren prefers compared to the, again, sterilized Disney version of mermaids, and I liked that a lot, and I really want more of that gothic lean-in. We've kind of strayed away from that. Instead, we're having the hyper fixation on swimming, how it's become an addiction, how brutal it is to the body when you're trying to become an athlete, and the things that you have to give up to be able to do that. And it does look a lot into that and how toxic that environment is. At the same time, because we've got this going on, we've then got her fixation on sex and stuff, you're losing some of that more horror leaning mermaid part, which I really wanted. I'm hoping we do get back to that, and we're just seeing her like anyone. As you grow up, you focus on different things things and how your mindset changes with those things. So I'm looking forward to getting back to those parts. Fingers crossed it happens. Like I say, we've got 100 pages left. Hopefully it happens towards the end and I can go, oh yeah, that ending was really good and it really sold it for me. As it started out, the first chapter made me go, oh, this is going to be a new favourite book. As it's continued, I'm like, okay, I like this, I like what you're doing, but you're no longer going to be a new favourite. Hoping we get those favourite vibes back towards the end. It's probably not going to be like, if I gave star ratings, it wouldn't be a 5-star because it's dropped off a little bit, but hopefully it can claw back some of that feeling that I'm really invested in. Those gothic parts in that first chapter were just, oh, absolutely gorgeous. We also do have a very uncomfortable relationship with her coach, Jim. It's said in the book that this, you're not going to see anything that makes you go, oh my god, put the book down in disgust. You don't want to see that. At the same time, it's a very perverse relationship between coach and Ren. But do check your trigger warnings because, you know, it doesn't hold back. It is a very kind of blunt and to the point book, but I don't mind that as a writing style. Like, it's not beautiful writing. Most of the chapters start with like this statement about humans or something like that, where it's kind of like almost philosophical in a way, but I kind of don't mind that. And then we get the rest of the chapter to look into it and to explain it a little bit more. We have had a couple of chapters where they're letters. I like the letters. They're also a bit drawn out, but I like them, and it's kind of exploring this sapphic longing. It's not something they explored, but it was definitely wanted on both parts, but also the fear of exploring it. There's just a lot. There's a lot packed into such a short book, and I am enjoying it, but I do want more of the gothic leaning stuff. And while I can appreciate a slightly more gory, twisted coming of age story, it's something I like, but it's not going to be a new favourite. However, it is probably one that I'm going to think about for a while because it kind of reminds me a bit like the short story Mantis by Julia Armfield, which was kind of similar in that we have this girl going through adolescence and she's transforming, but this is just kind of like a drawn out version of that, which I'm not mad about because I did really like that short story. And honestly, I ended up unhauling the short story collection because Mantis was the only one that I really liked, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to keep it for one short story. Kind of wish I had, because I really like that short story and I end up thinking about that short story way more than what I thought I ever would. But this kind of reminds me of that. So if you've read that short story by Julia Armfield and you liked it, then I think you'd probably really like Chlorine. I'm sure there are many books that are like this, it's just I haven't read loads of them, but it's kind of that weird literary horror that's looking at the horror of puberty and transformation and how disturbing that actually is and how difficult it can actually be, and I like it. I've spoken about this book a lot, but there's so much. It's a book that is going to keep me thinking for a while, so I'm not mad about it. Today I am seeing my mum, really looking forward to that. I think I've got like half hour before I need to leave, so I'm looking forward to seeing her, spending the day together, and then I've got one more day off where I'm going to be spending the day editing some of the videos that I filmed yesterday, so it's going to be just another YouTube work day. Hopefully during all that time I will get this book finished. We'll go into one of the other options to read before I have work for a couple days, and then we'll be done. Kind of a short vlog this week, but I've already mentioned that, and I'm just kind of like in ramble territory mode because what I do is like I think about my week and I constantly plan and reshuffle the plans on a day-to-day basis, and so that when I'm doing these updates you get that reshuffling of plans, and so you probably hear what I'm going to do during the week several times over. It's just the way my brain works, like I don't know. Anyway, right, okay, I do need to get ready, get myself sorted. Really enjoying Chlorine. Please let me know if you've read it. It's so interesting, and this is a debut book. Like, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for anything else Jade Song writes. Afternoon. I have spent this morning editing my video. Isn't almost done. I've still probably got like another 2 hours worth of editing to do. I'm going to do that today, but I'm splitting it up, so I'm doing an hour's worth of editing, then doing something else. The something else after the first hour of editing this morning was Chlorine. I finished up Chlorine and that was my cat's tail. I really enjoyed this. Towards the end, it got really quite grotesque and you can get all of the horror elements. So I decided to put an extra tab in. So I added in burnt yellow orangey colour for things that are just unsettling slash horrific, because there's a lot of unsettling moments throughout this book, and towards the end, oh my god, the body horror, it was whew. There was one particular scene and you knew it was coming. I was being very visceral in my reactions. Yesterday, I was like, I can't believe this. Like, oh no, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. But it was good. It really worked and I really enjoyed it. So I read 40 pages of this yesterday evening. And then I went and saw my partner, and then I finished up the last 60 pages after I did the editing. And I can honestly say the last bit of this book was really good. However, I do think this book could benefit from being about 50 to 60 pages shorter. I think if you took out some of those drawn out parts, it would be so good, because the ending was good. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the first part of this book, and then you just have this little middle segment where it is good and it is important that it's there, where we're seeing Ren grow up and we're seeing her go through puberty and dealing with adolescence and the transformation of your body, but just in a different way. It's there because it's good to comment on it, but I do think it wasn't really what I was here for. So I think if we cut that bit out, it would be a shorter, sharper book and have that little bit more impact as a result. That's just my personal opinion. It's what stops this from being a new favourite to me, because I really loved the themes explored. I really loved the folklore, the mythology, the way Ren got hyperfixated on it. But that moment where she was kind of losing her path, where it was the hyperfixation on the swimming, how toxic that is, then about growing up and the body changing, and you can see why it was there, because it was showing how Ren had lost her way in terms of the mermaid aspect of this. So it's one of those things where I'm like, it was good, it was there, but it made it a bit too slow. And I do feel like some of the letters in this weren't really needed. If you ignore that though, it was a very good book, and yeah, I think it was brilliant. So I think the only thing I would want to change about this is just kind of condense it down a bit, make it into a shorter novella, and it would have been good. I think if this was 150, maybe 160 pages, this would have been amazing. But it just goes to show how having a book be shorter, you can achieve a lot in it. And this book isn't even long, it's just over 200 pages, so the amount that was achieved in this book was really, really good. Thank you to my sister for choosing this one, and it was honestly really good. It was so horrifying. Those bits, oh god, it really made me go, oh god, no. But it was good. It was good for that, and that's kind of what I wanted more of. Anyway, I'm repeating myself a lot about that, but it was very good. I had a great time annotating this one. It was fantastic. Now it is only Wednesday. No, it's only Tuesday. So we still have 2 more days before Summerween starts. So that means I can definitely start another book and probably finish it. So the rest of today, I do still need to finish editing the video I've started, but it's only 3 o'clock, so I've got plenty of time to do that. So I'm going to start another book today, and that is going to be I Who Have Never Known Men. Really looking forward to this one. This one's only 167 pages long, so I imagine I can get this done. I honestly think if I can get 100 pages of this done today, then I can finish it up tomorrow morning easily, then with the potential to add in something else Thursday morning. That's what I'm thinking. Getting all the short books done. And while this one isn't on my TBR, I mentioned already how I've really been thinking about this one, but I've not actually read the synopsis of it, so I thought we'll take a moment to read the synopsis and then go from there. So we've got deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Watched over by guards, the women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only a vague recollection of their lives before. As the burn of electric light merges day into night and the numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone, an outcast in the corner. Soon she shall show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above ground. It's kind of weird when I say, oh, I've never read the synopsis, but I bought the book, because I watch so many YouTube videos on books, clearly. It's all I do with my time. And so I just listen to other people's reviews, so it's not often I actually will read a synopsis until I've hauled the book, and then most of the time I haven't actually done a book haul video with this in it, so because I haven't done that, I haven't actually read the synopsis yet. So I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was going to be a kind of dystopian leaning weird sci-fi book, which sounds great because I'm really into my weird books at the minute. I've had nothing but good things, really want to give it a try, so that's what we're going to do. So yeah, I think I'm going to really like this one. I don't think it's going to take me long to read, and again I think this is another one that I'll probably end up annotating, we'll see, and then hopefully, depending on how quickly we get this done, we might even be able to get that other short book which I mentioned as well. So you never know. If not, then we'll see. I'm sure I've got like a short story collection somewhere that I can just read a little short story of or something, because I can't wait to start Summerween on Friday. And I was looking at my TBR, I'm looking up there because my TBR is up there on the shelf over there, and I could potentially read a different book for these next couple of days and get that read, which would be smarter. Let me grab it. The Collector by John Fowles. And this again isn't that long. It's like just under 300 pages, so I could start this tonight, get a good chunk of the way through, and then finish up Wednesday, Thursday, and then that's 2 books off my TBR done. However, I have been thinking about this one consistently about how much I really want to read it, so I'm not going to do the smart thing. I'm going to stick to the TBR that I did at the start of this weekly vlog and go with this one. So right now I just need to pop out, grab some bread, and then come back, edit a little bit more. I want to make some boursin potatoes today, so we're going to do that. I'll probably chuck that clip in because why not? I love boursin potatoes. It is really the most unhealthy meal because it's literally just potatoes, cream and cheese, boursin cheese, and that's it. That's literally all it is. And yes, it's technically meant to be a side and you can do it with veg, and I probably will do it with some veg. It really is just a very unhealthy meal, but it's so tasty. So yeah, I plan on doing that today, and that's it. Like, I really don't have many plans. I've really enjoyed these 5 days off. Like, it's been so relaxing. I haven't done loads, and it was exactly what I needed. Like, each day I've done little bits of YouTube work, and I've just been playing Animal Crossing and reading, and it's just been really needed, which is great because tomorrow I am back to work. I'm working 7 days in a row, back to the grind, but this has been a really needed few days off. But right, I am going to stop waffling on. I will check in when I have read more. I say read more, I haven't even started it. When I have started I Who Have Never Known Men, to give you my initial thoughts, and we'll see how much I actually get read this week. I think trying to get another 2 books in is probably a bit over ambitious because before work I still need to do like little editing, although the video I'm doing tomorrow is only short, so I don't know. I feel like I'm being ambitious, you never know. Anyway, right, I'm just rambling. Just for the sake of rambling because I like talking to you all. So I'm gonna go though, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. As I've said, as I repeat all the time, and I say this all the time. Okay, so it's much later. I think it's like almost 11 at night. Yeah, no, it's 10:30 at night. Anyway, I've just read the first 100 pages of I Who Have Never Known Men. So I'm up to page 101, and this is just so interesting. I've had to sit with my thoughts for a little bit, and then I thought, actually, no, I kind of just want to update and kind of like think about it, but talk about it to you at the same time. So this could be a rambly mess also by the fact that I am rather tired. First 100 pages of this, so interesting. So I Who Have Never Known Men is very interestingly written in of itself because it's got no chapters. There are no chapters throughout this book. It is just this letter in a way that our main character has written. And it does start off the book with going, probably nobody's going to even read this, but I've written it down anyway. And our main character has no name. And I always find that a really interesting writing technique. Probably technique's the wrong word to use, but like it's an interesting writing tool to have a character that is not named. I always find it so interesting. So yeah, so there's no chapters in this, but I kind of don't mind that. The way it's written is so natural to flow, and there are points where you can take a break. So like the point where I've stopped, you can take a natural break out, but at the same time it also works for it to be all part of the same chapter. Like I'm probably not doing a very good job of explaining that, but it's just so cohesive, like it just flows and it works really well. But this is so interesting. This is a book that I thought about annotating, and I'm kind of pleased I haven't, because as much as there has been amazing quotes out of this book, this is a book that I need to read and then think about, and then eventually reread it, and then I will get so much more from it, and I'll probably be able to annotate because I have an idea of the sort of things that I am wanting to annotate from this book, because there's just so much that is being explored, and I can't believe how much has been done within 100 pages. Like, it is just so well done. Genuinely, I'm blown away. It is so good. So we're following our main character. She is in this bunker. They assume they're underground. There are no windows. They've never left this room. Night and day is determined by this light that just dims and then gets brighter, and so they have assumed what is night and day. And this book questions so much. It questions what is humanity. How do we make things work when everything is taken away from us? So we have these 40 women that are in this one room, and they have to do everything in the open in front of each other. Even going to the toilet, there is just a toilet in the middle of the room. Can't even give each other privacy, because whenever they try to do this, say for example, standing in front of the person that was using the toilet, everyone with their backs towards them, so that they could get an inkling of privacy, the guards, who are all men, would use whips and crack a whip. They would never hurt the women, but the sound would frighten them. It is speculated that clearly they must have been hurt in the past, because this fear is so deep rooted. We do get a comment on how some of the women have white scars that would match being hit by a whip. So there's definitely been these things that happened to them in the past, but they can't remember it. They can remember their lives before being in this place. They can remember being mothers, sisters, wives, etc. And then they've come to this place, but there is this haze patch on how they got there, on what happened to them, and now they're in this bunker. And it's so extraordinary, because like they're really not allowed anything. They're not allowed to end their own lives. They're not allowed to hit each other. They're not allowed to touch each other. If they speak and it's too excitable, that's not allowed. Like, there is so much they're not allowed to do. They've had everything taken from them. Everything that makes you kind of feel more of an individual, your sense of self, things like it's all been stripped away, and they don't do anything. They're literally just in this room constantly with nothing to interact with, nothing to change what's going on. And the only interaction that they have is with the guards, and there's always 3 of them constantly watching the women, but they do not interact with them. They do not talk to them. They do not show any sign of being heard. The only thing that shows that they are constantly watching is if the women step out of line, they crack the whips. It's really, I mean, the way it's written is so eerie, and it gets you questioning so much of what is humanity, what makes us humans, and even the concept of having a hierarchy, the reason why we need that, the reason why we need routine and habits and what makes those. It also questions like about time. It gets to the point where the women really just want to have a concept of time passing, and the lengths they go to do that, just to have a mediocre of control in their lives. And then something changes. Like, there is this siren, and these women are able to get out of the bunker, but their guards disappeared. There is no trace of them being there, apart from when they eventually go exploring and seeing other bits of what's in the bunker, is they see that there were people there, because you've got the uniform and things, but there was no personal effects. There is nothing to show that they slept or where they slept or anything. It is really eerie and unsettling, and they don't even know where they are. The longer that they're out, the more they realize there's no seasons, there's nothing. It's almost like being in a completely alien world because it's so different. And just some of the things that are just talked about, like it's so interesting. You've got this post-apocalyptic world, and yet this book is so philosophical, but it's all done so well because you're following a main character who is different to everyone else. She was a child when she came here, so she can remember nothing from the outside. She remembers nothing beyond the life that she had there. And she was not told things by the other women. Like, they're like, well, there's no point trying to educate you because we can't teach you how to read and write because there's nothing to show you how to read and write. We don't show you maths again because we've got nothing to write it down with, so we can do counting on fingers. But when it gets higher than that, it's going to be a lot harder for that mental maths to work when we've got nothing to show you how it all works. And they wouldn't talk to her about love, men, sexuality, the body, like none of this. And so you see her as she's growing up, and you as the reader know that what she's experiencing is her sexuality and realizing what her body can do, but she has no idea what this is. She has all these different other names for it because she's never had anything. Nobody's ever told her, so how can she put a name to these things? And it's so interesting. Oh, my fridge has just turned on. I mean, it's always on, but it's now going cold, so you're gonna get humming anyway. But it's so peculiar. I've not read anything quite like this. Like, I just finished Chlorine, which obviously had that part where you've got our main character Ren growing up, going through adolescence, and it does it through a lot more of a visceral look at the messier parts of that. This does it from the perspective of, I don't know what to name it because I've got no clue what's happening to my body. So it's interesting. It's so interesting. I really am enjoying it. I also find it quite interesting that there's no men that we actually interact with in terms of talking to them in any way. They are literally silent guards, and then when they're gone, the only other men you come across, they're dead. So you just don't have that interaction. So that's also really interesting. I'm gonna have to reread it. This is a book that's gonna stick with me for a really long time just because of how interesting it is and how many different things you could pull from this book. It is so interesting. At the same time, the way it's written, there's so much that's happened, but also it feels slow and sedate, and it's like got a nice pace into it that doesn't feel rushed but also doesn't feel like it's dragging. Nothing like action based has happened, I guess. There have been other things that have been going on the whole time that it's just really working for me. It is just tickling my brain in all the right ways, and I'm really enjoying it. And it did take me a bit of time because when I was first getting into this book, I was like, okay, I like this is interesting. As I got more and more into it, and then I reached the 100-page mark and I put it down to think about it, the more I realized how clever this book is and how much it's doing. And the more I talk about it, the more I realize how well crafted this is. And yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. This is why I love YouTube, because if it had not been for YouTube, I would not know that this book existed. Doing these videos, doing all of that, and I know I've mentioned this before, but genuinely, me doing booktube and taking, oh, cat's using a scratching post. Anyway, but me taking the time to do that has enabled me to find so many books that I never would have picked up otherwise without this community, and it's so good. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is brilliant. It is so well written, but I think the way it's done as well, it being this kind of almost like stream of consciousness, like you're writing it down in a journal and you're not thinking anyone else is actually going to read this. And that is what our main character states at the start, like doesn't believe anyone's actually going to read this, but will just write down everything. And I love that because it does just feel so personal and so intimate, and yet at the same time you're also kept at a distance. Everything that the main character is going through is through this lens of such naivety that as a reader you can see how naive they're being, and you can see all these things that you're like, oh, but that's what this is, but they have no clue. Like it's so well done. It's so clever. I love it. So yeah, this is going to stick with me. This is going to stick with me a lot, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the last 64 pages. It's not going to take me, I say it's not going to take me long. It's probably going to take me over an hour to read. And I'm really tempted to do it now, but I'm also getting more and more tired. I'm only staying up late because I'm on my midnight finishes at work tomorrow, so I like to get ready for that. So I am gonna swap out and do something that's just like more chill, probably Animal Crossing, because you really don't have to pay attention to that. Maybe just watch a video or something, I don't know. We're gonna get ready for bed anyway, is what I'm saying. So I'm not going to read anymore because I really want to be able to concentrate on this. But I can definitely get this finished up tomorrow before work. It's just so interesting. It is so interesting, and I could honestly keep on talking about so many points in this book as I keep remembering different things, and I'm just like, oh, that connects to this. Like, the longer I talk about it, the more things I'm getting from it, and I just think it's so well done. It's not going to be a book that I would recommend to everyone though, because I can imagine this would kind of irritate some people because you don't get answers, and I don't think this is going to be the book where we ever get answers. I think from this I can tell where this story is going. Also, it does do a lot of like foreshadowing, telling you this is what's going to happen without telling you direct. There'll be like sentences here and there that goes, oh, and this was foretelling this, or things like that. So it is telling you what's going to happen, but not in the way it's going to happen, if that makes any sense. Probably not, because I'm tired. But yeah, so I feel like I know how this book's going to end, and I know that sort of ending would frustrate a lot of people. It's a bit like Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, but instead of having this world where things are different to do with biology of things being completely different, in this it's to do with a completely barren world and how these women are surviving it, and they don't even know how they got there. So I think again, this is why I also like it, because I really enjoyed Annihilation. So this is the sort of book that if you like Annihilation, you would probably like this, because it has that similar feel of you're going to get a non-ending. It's written as a journal, which is like Annihilation. Your main character, again, you didn't know the names of both. Oh my god, yeah, I would say if you like this, you're gonna like Annihilation, or vice versa, because in Annihilation you don't know your main character's name. You don't know if you can trust them as a narrator. I feel like you can trust the narrator in here a lot more, but they're naive. They're going to miss certain things, and as a reader you would know that. And see the journal entries and stuff, the only difference is like structurally this has got no chapters and Annihilation does have chapters. But I think it's going to have that same non-ending of you're going to read this, you're not going to get a satisfying conclusion out of it, and that will really bother some people. So yeah, and this is what I mean, the longer I think about it, the more connections I'm making, and I could go on about it for ages. This is really good. Oh, I'm so pleased I decided to go with this and like not continue with my TBR for the month and like read the classic, because I think I would still like The Collector by John Fowles. Jennifer mentioned to me in my TBR video for that one's good. I'll have her channel linked below. She's a lovely person. Also, she's another reason why I boosted this high, because she was talking in her wrap up about reading this book and I liked the way she spoke about it then. So anyway, Jennifer's a lovely person, but I'm really enjoying this. But right, okay, I am going to stop talking. I don't even know how long I've been talking for. I've got no glasses on. Oh, 16 minutes. 16 minutes of just talking about that book, and it's just so okay, right, anyway, I'm gonna get ready for bed and chill out, and I think in the morning we'll finish this. If I have time to update you before I go to work, I will when I finish this book. If not, we'll do it another day. Oh, such a good book. Let's go to sleep. Good afternoon. It's been a few days, and if I sound a bit weird, it is because I am ill. Honestly, I had such a relaxing 5 days off. I felt so ready to return to work, and Wednesday was pretty good. It was actually quite a good day. And then yesterday I woke up and I felt so ill. It was like flu. It was like waking up to flu in the middle of summer, and I just was not feeling great. Decided to go into work anyway, because I was like, oh, I'll be okay, I'll just keep on top of the cold and flu tablets and painkillers and stuff, we'll get through it. Shouldn't have really done that. And then today I was still feeling, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna call in. We're gonna take a day off and we're just gonna rest and recover. And currently it's just after 3 in the afternoon. I have done nothing all morning. Like literally all I have done is take cold and flu tablets and nap, and just getting myself ready, like just in my jumper and like a tiny bit of like get myself presentable for you guys. Took me so long because I just had to keep stopping because I'm so tired. We're here to wrap up the vlog, and it does mean I didn't actually get as much read as I thought I was going to, because we did finish with enough time for me to read. It lasts forever and then it's over, but I never actually picked it up because I was planning to start this Wednesday before work. I finished off another book anyway, so I was like, okay, so instead I'll read this Thursday before work. Bear with me. So the plan was to read this Thursday before work. It's only a short book and there's lots of space, so I didn't imagine it taking me much longer than like an hour and a half to read. It just never happened because Thursday, literally I woke up at 8:30, felt terrible, took a load of like cold and flu medicine, and then went back to sleep with an hour to get ready before work. Like, it was just not the one. So I didn't get around to reading this, but on Wednesday, when I was actually feeling okay, I did finish I Who Have Never Known Men, and this was really good. This ended in the way I expected it to end. Like, it didn't surprise me in terms of the ending. I think it worked really well for the book, for the tone and pacing of the book. However, like I did mention, like I'm pretty sure I mentioned, how this is not going to be a book for everyone because it doesn't answer the questions. It doesn't answer why this was done to the women. It doesn't answer why they were kept here. It doesn't even answer where they are. It answers nothing. We get no answers. I honestly don't mind that. I don't mind books like that because they make me think. And while these sort of books are not books that I'm going to want to read all the time, these are the sort of books that stay with me the longest because of how much they get you to think. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm really pleased I picked it up. I think it's a very interesting book, and it's a book that, depending on your life at the time, will depend on what you take from this book. There are so many things it discusses, and like I said, when I reread it I will annotate because there are so many things that can be taken from this book, from different comments on society to just comments on life in general. And for me, reading this for the first time, I definitely picked up on the what is the point in life theme in this book the most. Like, it really does question, when you strip back everything, all we do is wake up, eat, sleep, repeat until we die, and that's the one certainty you're going to get in life, is that you're going to die eventually. Yet at the same time, I took it as to fill your life with everything that makes you happy. That is the point of life, is to go out and experience different things and to take pleasure in the little things and just enjoy your life, because at the end of the day we get one and we are all gonna die at the end of it, so you might as well enjoy it. But like I say, there are so many other things that you can take from this book, so it's definitely not going to be a book for everyone. It is quite morbid at times, it is very melancholy, but this is a book I do really like and I know is going to stick with me for a very long time. So yeah, definitely one I'm going to reread. I really enjoyed it. And then of course we did start off the week with reading Chlorine by Jade Song, and this is a book I genuinely loved. I am still surprised it's their debut. Like, genuinely, I thought it was very good. As much as, yes, I do have that criticism of there probably could have been like 50 to 60 pages taken out of this book and it would have made it so much more concise with the pacing. It would have stayed the same rather than having that dip in the middle for me. But I did really like it. I loved the themes that were explored. I loved how visceral it was. I loved the body horror aspect. I loved the fact that it genuinely made me bodily react to those moments, and I love it for that. And I love the mermaid folklore. I think it was really well done. I'm very pleased that I read this, and thank you again to my sister for choosing it for the week. And it was a good start to my July TBR. It definitely set the tone for what I'm going to be reading for the rest of the month, and I just think it was a really expertly done look at puberty, transcendence, turning into a woman, and honestly messy that whole process is. And again, with lots of comments on society and everything within it, I thought it was just really well done. So while yes, this reading week, the end of it has not gone to plan, and I didn't get this third book read, which I would very much like to, because it's meant to be a very weird little book. It's just unfortunate that I was really ill and couldn't have the mental capacity to focus, so it didn't happen. But I'm very pleased to have got these two read. I think it's been a really good start to the month. Really, I'm really happy because both of these are books I've been wanting to read for a little while, and I got so much from both of them, so I'm really pleased with that. But I am going to wrap up this vlog here because it is the start of Summerween. As you see, we have the little bats up. I'm very excited about Summerween. We have my Something Wicked This Way Comes jumper for it, and I'm really excited. It's such a shame that I'm feeling so rubbish because I can't even focus that much to read. Like, I've read a little bit. I've started one of the Summerween books and I've read a little bit of it, but I've had to change on the book that I wanted to start with, which I'm going to talk about in next week's vlog, so you're going to see it then. But just because I don't have that mindset to focus right now, like, I am finding I can read for like 10 minutes and then I've got to stop, and then I'm just like doing nothing really for another like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I'm just like, I have no energy today. Even doing this, I debated not doing this wrap up until tomorrow or something, but I just thought, you know what, the drugs have kicked in, I'm feeling the best I have all day. It's not great, we're running at like 40%, but that's better than it has been for the last couple of days, so that's good. So sorry to end this on a bit of a low note. The high note is we've had a great start to July's reading. I'm really, really pleased with it. Let me know, what did you start the month of reading? Are you planning to read any spooky books for summer? Let me know. But I am going to leave it there. So thank you so much for watching. I think if you've made it this far or you just don't know what to comment, I used a mermaid before for Chlorine, but I can't think, so let's just put a mermaid in the comments again. Why not? Mermaids are fun. And if you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Genuinely, you will make this so worth it. Like, I love creating videos and being here on YouTube and being able to interact with you all, just, it makes it so worth it, so thank you. But I am going to go, so social media links, anyone I've mentioned, will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video. Hopefully feeling better.